Welcome to Straight Talk with Jon Brunson. Before we get started with this podcast, I thought it'd be kind of a good idea to do a little introductory video, kind of explaining what the podcast is about, why I'm doing it, and kind of give everybody an idea of, I guess, what we're trying to accomplish here. So we've been kind of fighting the idea of a podcast for, I'd say, over a decade now. From my team to my social media team to friends of mine who have been kind of prodding me over the years to do a podcast. They feel like, a lot of friends of mine that come to me for advice feel that, I don't know, maybe I have something I can give back, or maybe I can help someone out there. And it may be something as simple as, hunting advice or, spear diving advice. Or it could be something more complicated, advice on life, kids, family, marriage, really about anything. So I kind of fought this podcast for a long time because the last thing I wanted to do was just pick up another project, another responsibility. We own our own production company. We've been doing TV for 21 years. I have two TV shows, Addicted to the Outdoors and Spirit Life, that are successful outdoor shows. So I get plenty of, camera time and FaceTime. So, the podcast definitely is not another reason for me to get in front of a camera. Sometimes I'm looking for a reason to get out from in front of the camera. But after talking about this for a lot of years and really kicking it around, I finally came to the conclusion, especially now, these last few years, when you just look at the world we live in, the country we live in, the things that are going on related to business, related to family, kids, education, politics, it's, the list goes on and on. I believe there's a lot to talk about. For me, I'm 51 years old. I've been around the world. I've got, like I said, two successful TV shows. I've got to meet some great people over my career. Have had an extensive business career going all the way back to, 19 years old. Again, I've got to travel the world, meet a lot of people, meet, professional athletes, celebrities, rock stars, country singers, some very high up military people with some of the military charity events that we've done over the past 20 years, meeting, very high top end doctors that we have met through charity events that we've done in the past, like with St. Jude's Hospital, meeting, gazillionaires and oil guys and all kinds of, very successful people that, historically I would probably never get to meet if it hadn't have been for the fact that I have a TV show. It's funny having a TV show. I definitely am not one of those guys running around with all the gazillionaires. But, regardless of who you are in life, whether you're working a normal day job, or whether you're a surgeon, whether you're an oil guy, a professional athlete, a rock star, if you enjoy the outdoors, you end up watching certain shows you like, you become a fan of that show and those people, and then that's how the connections are made. So I've definitely had a lot of access over my business career, and especially over the past 21 years of doing TV, I've had a lot of access to, people that are a lot smarter than me. So over the years, getting to meet different people, travel the world, see different cultures and beliefs, have success in business where I started from ground zero, literally, coming from very humble beginnings. My dad was a Southern Baptist preacher. I was raised with a bunch of kids, a bunch of brothers and sisters. Our cousins were with us at some point, where we had 10 kids in one house and one bathroom, literally sleeping 3 to 4 to a bedroom. Started working a full-time real job at 13 years old in the summer as a lawnmower mechanic because I wanted to buy new clothes and not wearing my older brother's clothes. That's where I come from. And I can honestly say that everything I have today is really from hard work. I've never had anything handed to me. I've got to meet a lot of great people, and I've definitely got to get a lot of, I've got a lot of good advice over the years. But as far as getting out and making it on your own, I am definitely a perfect example of kind of walking out the door at 17 with, your clothes in your hands and going out and trying to do something big with your life. So for this podcast, I didn't want to do, a hunting podcast. I didn't want to do a fishing podcast. I wanted it to be very broad. I think that there are a ton of podcasts out there. I think there's a ton of great hunting podcasts. There's a ton of great fishing podcasts, but I wanted to really have no boundaries. I really want to talk about the things that everyone wants to talk about. Over the years, Gina and I, we've been doing Addicted to the Outdoors now for 21 years. We've done a tremendous amount of seminars all over the country for Bass Pro Cabela's, trade shows. And one thing that we always did is we never did seminars on a specific subject. Over our 21-year career, we always did Q&A with the fans because we were always interested in what they wanted to talk about. And so I kind of carry that mentality into this podcast, where, I want to talk about what my fans want to talk about. If there's, something I can learn from y'all, great. I'm learning every day. You don't know everything, and you're constantly learning. I really, again, wanted to keep it wide open. And like I mentioned before, this podcast is, it's just something that we reached a point where I felt like I had to do it. We're going to give this a few months and we're going to see how it does. If people engage with this podcast and we feel like we are giving some good advice and we are helping some people, and it is beneficial, then, we'll keep doing it. If we get a few months into this and we feel like, hey, we just have a podcast like, a million other podcasts and we're not really making a change, we're not really making a difference, we're not really helping anyone, then, I'll probably tube the podcast because I've got enough on my plate. But this is just something that has been just pulling on me. And above and beyond my team and a lot of people pushing me to do this, there was just something internal that was driving me to give this a try and see how it worked, and see how interacting more with our fans, which is hard to do. We have a TV show. You see what's on the TV show each week. It is what it is. You follow us on social media. You get little glimpses here and there. But as far as candid conversation, answering specific questions that our fans have, giving thoughts on particular things, that really doesn't happen unless we're out doing a seminar somewhere. And of course, if we're out doing a seminar somewhere, maybe we impact a few hundred people. So we're hoping that with the podcast, we can answer more questions, get it out to more people, and hopefully help some people along the way. Again, whether it's to become a better outdoorsman, whether it's being a better parent, whether it's just raising kids in today's environment, politics, again, the state of the country. There's just so much going on. These last 3 years have definitely shifted my reality and my perception of really the world in this country. So send us your questions. I'd love to hear from you. And just based on some of the questions we've got so far, I can tell already it is going to be pretty interesting.